Welcome. Thank you for tuning in to Blitz Interviews. Like the game of chess, we only have 10 minutes. I'm Evgeny from Herjoy Group and Security Architecture Podcast. I have Chase here to talk about his new book. Chase, please let me know about the book, and it has a very interesting name.
Yeah, so my new one's called Gabriel. It's really it's a novel, but it's also a novel that's based in technical reality. Like I've seen so much stuff on Netflix and other books that I've been reading about AI and cyber warfare that were just like way out in space, and I just kind of said, okay, well, maybe for the hell of it, I can write a book that's technically accurate and also somewhat interesting. So I think I've done a decent job.
So this is your first book that not a documentary. It's more about telling stories.
I have the comic books, so those were kind of not nonfiction, but yeah, this is my first like novel.
Is all the stories in a book true, like history stories, or stories that are effectively can happen with real people?
Right. So it's not, there's no history in there. It's really more kind of if you were to like say I was going to watch a movie on artificial intelligence and cyber warfare, like this would be kind of like the movie script. It's meant to be kind of Tom Clancy-ish, but it's got everything from Navy SEALs to artificial intelligence to drone attacks to critical infrastructure. Like it's pretty across the board.
Does the person need to know does the person need to have any specific understanding before reading the book, or anybody can read it?
I think anybody can read it. The funny thing you mentioned that is I actually like I hate watching movies when they think that you kind of just understand what's going on. So my editor actually beat me up on the exposition. She was like, you're telling people too much, let them think for themselves. So I had to kind of go back around this. As a nonfiction writer, I had to basically not nonfiction it to death, if you know what I mean.
So it's the difference in talking to the board and management. You don't need to tell everything.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. This is written for the board, not for the technology people.
Okay, there's a lot of guessing around it. Nice. And I'm wondering about the Gabriel and Angel. So it's a good, bad. Where is the story taking it?
Yeah, I mean, I grew up in a really biblically centered home, and it was interesting for me that there was this character in the Bible, Gabriel, that was kind of the angel of war, I guess you say, and they never really went too far down into it. So I figured if there's going to be an evil angel, I should use Gabriel. So and plus that's the only way I could work the AI into the term. So I used it.
Why AI? Why not anything else?
Because that's one thing that I think is showing up so often is like there's Elon Musk and these other folks have talked about the sort of implications of our AI, and we see it all the time in the news. And I was just going like, well, wait a minute, that's not what actually artificial intelligence kind of is, and that's not what the real implications are. So I wanted to go down that rabbit hole, and I mean, I did some of my dissertation stuff around AI, so I feel like I have a pretty good understanding.
Do you think the term is overused in our industry?
Oh yeah, by far. Yeah, I think it's been just usurped.
Yeah, I personally think that vendors need to use more down to earth language that we can understand, and not a lot of different terms that's supposed to look cool, but people don't really understand what does it mean.
Right.
So do you have vendors in the book?
No, I didn't pick vendors or anything. Maybe I could pick a vendor to sponsor the publication. I don't know, but yeah, I didn't pick anybody out. I don't want to cause problems.
I mean, Gabriel didn't use any ZTNA vendors, SASE vendors, XDR, EDR.
There was no AV that Gabriel beat.
Oh my God. Okay, that's it. Next book. Let's switch topics.
That's part two. Yeah.
That's part two. Is the book out already? Because I saw we can pre-order, but I'm not sure if it's out yet.
Yeah, pre-order's up now. It comes publicly available 5th of October.
Interesting.
And that's actually on the 6th of October, I'll be at the online at the Hacker Halted thing doing a keynote. So I'm going to have a discount code for that day when I'm doing it. So if anybody wants to get the book, they can get a discount just by attending Hacker Halted and getting the book then.
I make sure I put a link to the online presentation as well. Now, I'm wondering, do you going to also have an audiobook?
Not yet, but I've started thinking about getting that together. It's I mean, I'm doing all this on my own without like a publisher and stuff, so it gets expensive quick.
Tell me maybe a phrase, a paragraph, or something very interesting that was personally connected to you from the book.
For me, like one of the things that was really like I hate flying. Like I'm the worst flyer. Like I take Xanax to get on an airplane, and I wrote a chapter in the book specifically about a drone attack on a jetliner. And for me, I've always been freaked out about this because there are no technical controls that keep drones from not flying into the engines of jets. People think that there are, but there's not. So like when I wrote the whole thing, it literally makes my chest tight to think about it right now. And I wrote that chapter, and when I got done, I had to like sit down and kind of go, okay, like take a break. This is, this is okay. It's just your own mind making this a thing.
So you say, thanks God we're not flying right now too much, because you're afraid.
Yeah, I mean, it was like I say, I'm a terrible flyer, but when I wrote that chapter, and then I sat there going like, well, wait a minute, everything I wrote about is technically possible, so that doesn't make me necessarily feel any better.
Great. I noticed the main characters in the book. Again, I didn't read the book. I just read the summary. Are women. I guess it's intentional.
Yeah, very intentional. I think we have all this stuff going on about women in cyber, and I've seen a lot of people kind of talking about it and doing some things, but I haven't seen any concerted effort that I could find around like saying the cool stuff that women do that is, just as cool as anything a guy could do. So that was kind of my approach to this, was give women the credit they deserve in cyber.
In my perspective, with the digital transformation and move to the cloud, there is no heavy service to lift. So we don't need to have any physical strength. So I don't see any difference between women and men in cybersecurity.
I think that's one thing we need more people from more different backgrounds. And that was kind of a approach to do that. And then also, the other thing was to kind of wake people that might read it up to the idea that there's other things besides just like programming. Like cyber is not just people programming stuff all day long.
Definitely not. I think there's a lot of ideas when you need to start at cyber. You have to be a hacker or pen tester. And I actually have a very strong opinion that it's not things you should be doing when you're starting in cybersecurity. It's something you should do after 5, 6, 8 years in cybersecurity.
Yeah. It's just like if you're going to be an architect, you shouldn't start just designing buildings. You should start like learning how to lay bricks.
Yes. So work in the SOC, professional services, IT, support, a lot of great topics to be before you become a programmer, pen tester. Doesn't mean you cannot be a programmer and design programs. Also a very, very valuable professional as well.
Yeah, it's we're in a great space. I think I saw the statistics said this is the only space in technology or a period that has a negative unemployment rate. So, I mean, if you're in cyber and you're, worth your salt, you're never going to have to look for a job.
Yeah, I agree about this. Now, I know it's not your first book, so maybe let's mention your other books as well.
Yeah, so I've got 3 comic books all about cybersecurity, Sinja, CYNJA for kids and families. And then I have a nonfiction book, Cyber Warfare, Truth, Tactics, and Strategies. So that's 5 books in total. Not bad.
October is a month of security awareness. If any of your books are good for security awareness, that we can put a link as well.
Yeah, I think the comic books are great. I actually, during October, I get a lot of emails about cybersecurity awareness for kids. So I would say if you've got family and kids or people that aren't big into cyber, check out the comics, because it's a pretty solid run through on what technology means for that space for those individuals.
I see more and more people are creating security awareness training in a way of cartoons or comics, and I think it's a great way and much easier way to do it. Chase,
yeah, my comics are awesome. My comics are badass.
Chase, thank you very much.
Thanks for having me.
Awesome.